Hey guys, and welcome back to the Peteytown Piranhas Teambuilder Dynasty in College Football 26. In this episode, we're going to be playing our bowl game against Wake Forest in the Game Above Sports Bowl, and then we're going to be getting into the off-season to set us up for Season 2 of the Peteytown Piranhas. Here we go. For our bowl game matchup in the Game Above Sports Bowl, we're going to be taking on Wake Forest from the ACC. They got a 76 overall, and they went 7-5 this season. And somehow we got our overall up to 59, and we're going to see what we can do here with that overall discrepancy, but we beat Maryland with a similar overall, so hopefully we can give Wake Forest a game here. Wake Forest is on a third down early here to start their first drive, and they're going to drop back. He's got plenty of space if he wants it. He doesn't take it, but he does flip it to his receiver for the first down. They're going to do a little play action here, and they're going to fire it quickly, and Pete Pistol takes him down, but not before he gets first down yardage. They're going to hit a guy wide open over the middle. He just went under our zones, and he gets them to the 30-yard line. Wake Forest is just firing on all cylinders right now as they're getting into our territory, and they're going to add some more to that as their QB scrambles just inside our red zone. Wake Forest, they get right by our guy who misplayed that, and they get it to the 5-yard line. Wake Forest not really meeting much resistance right now as they're at the 5-yard line. They're going to scramble, but no. Oh my goodness, what a play by Peteytown! Their quarterback had a wide open lane to the end zone, but he tries to toss it to his receiver, and Peteytown steps right in front of it to get the big interception to keep Wake Forest out of the end zone. So after that interception, we're hitting Pete over the middle of the field to get us to the 43-yard line. After a couple short pass plays, the Piranhas are on 3rd down and 5 from the 48-yard line. Peterson's going to drop back, see what he's got. Fire it, and he's got Pete Dinklage wide open over the middle of the field, and he gets us big first down yardage. Peterson's going to hit his hitch route to get us 7 yards. 3rd down and manageable for the Piranhas. Peterson's going to survey and see what he's got, but he's going to go down with the sack. Just a little too much time there, and that allowed Wake Forest to get in the pressure they needed. Steve P is going to come out to attempt the field goal. The kick is up, and he splits the uprights to give us the early 3-0 lead. Wake Forest is going to hit their guy who stops on a dime to give himself the space to get near midfield. The Demon Deacons are going to go from their 49-yard line, trying to convert on a 3rd down and 8. And they're going to throw it right over, and Peter Alonso is there, but he doesn't challenge him in time, and they're going to get the first down. The Demon Deacons are going to try a little play action here. Their guy steps up. We got a spy out there, and he's not going to go anywhere, and he fumbles, and we pick it up. Oh, beautiful QB spy there called by the defensive coordinator, and it works out to get us a fumble that's recovered by Petey McGee. It was Peter Lightning who got the forced fumble apparently, so beautiful play by our guys to corral that ball. As the first quarter winds down, we're going to go with a pass to Sir Peter, and he's going to get us a 6-yard gain to set up a 3rd and manageable. We're looking at a 3rd down and 4. Peterson's going to fire it quickly, but their guy is right there just waiting for the interception, and the Demon Deacons are going to get away with that fumble by causing a turnover of their own. Just not a good read by our quarterback there. The guy was just sitting there waiting and begging for the ball to come his way, and it did. So Wake Forest takes over on our side of the 50, and they're going to do a read option, and their quarterback is streaking through there to get a big gain. Wake Forest is going to hit their guy on a little slant drag route there to get them into the first down and into our red zone. After that tackle for a loss, Wake Forest is looking for something, and they're going to get a guy open, and he's going to fight his way into the end zone, and Wake Forest is going to go up 7-3 after that brutal interception by our quarterback. Our defense is putting in work, trying to keep this game close as our offense is working through some struggles right now, and we're going to get them down for a 4-yard gain.
That starts with being the more physical team.
They're going to hit an RPO play, and they get around us as we were a little discombobulated on that one, not communicating, and it turns into a big gain for Wake Forest. At the 2-minute warning, Wake Forest is threatening us again. They're going to try another deep ball. Their guy's got separation, and he's going to make the catch and get it to our 4-yard line on a big play, about a 42, 41-yard play there. And Robbie Ashford just made our defense look silly with that pass. 2nd down and goal for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, and they're going to get it in with another quarterback run up the middle. And they're going to take a 14-3 lead on us with just over a minute and a half left in the first half. The penalty puts us on a 2nd down and 18 in a real danger zone right now. And we're going to try to pass it. Peter Peterson's going to find Pierre Pete to get some of that penalty yardage back. 3rd down and 11. This is really a must-convert for us right now, given where we are on the scoreboard. And Pete's going to find a lane to run through, and he's going to pick up the 1st down. What a cheeky little play call by Petey Previtt there to give the Piranhas life and to get them out of that danger zone near our end zone. Peter Peterson's got pressure in his face, and he hits Pedro O'Toole with a big pass play that gets it to their 35-yard line. What a throw from our quarterback with pressure in his face and nice separation by Pedro O'Toole to give his quarterback a window to throw the ball into. We're here on a 2nd and 10 with just under a minute left to go in the first half. We're going to hit Sir Peter out of the backfield, and he's going to get us a 7-yard gain to set up 3rd down and 3. 3rd down and 3 here. We're going to put a guy in motion. Peter Peterson is going to look, and he gets it away, and Pierre Pete makes a nice catch and breaks a tackle and gets us into their red zone. The clock is winding down now, and we have 1 timeout, so we can run a play here, see what we can get. Pierre Pete's going to get a 1st down, and we're going to call the timeout here. Petey Previtt is going to try to run a play here. It's 1st and goal with 7 seconds left. He's going to hit Pete Dinklage, who's wide open, and he's going to score the touchdown. We run one of our favorite plays to get Pete Dinklage open, and he gets the deficit down to just 14-10 going into the 2nd half. What a great drive by the Piranhas at the end of the first half there. They were really struggling to get anything going, but put a little pressure on them, and they shine there on the offensive side of the ball. So a big benefit of getting that touchdown at the end of the half is that we open the 2nd half with the ball for our offense. And here on 2nd down and 8, we're going to find Peter Capaldi sneaking through on a little RPO route, and he gets us the 1st down. Pete was tackled for a 4-yard loss, so that's going to set up a 3rd down and 8 for our offense to try and convert. Peter Peterson is going to throw it, and he's got Pete Ackler, who makes the tough catch with guys bearing down on him to keep our drive going. We're going to try an RPO play that we ran, and it's the same result as Peter Capaldi is going to get a nice gain to set up 3rd and inches. Here on 3rd and inches, Wake Forest is showing a heavy look. Let's see if we can take advantage of it. And Peter Peterson will get it out quickly, and Pete Dinklage just gets enough for the 1st down. A couple of unproductive runs by Pete sets up a 3rd down and 9. The Piranhas are looking for some forward progress, and Peter Peterson's going to loft it up, and they knock it away at the last second from Pierre Pete, and unfortunately we're going to have to punt it away. Oh, when we get the interception, they tried to go with the RPO screen, and who is that? Pete Mesquite makes the play. He jumped the route and got the interception and walked into the end zone to give the Peteytown Piranhas the lead over Wake Forest in our bowl game. Look at him just flying in there, and he just timed it perfectly and made the play of the game so far to give us the lead. Unbelievable play from our slot cornerback on that one. After that Pete Mesquite interception, each offense has had 2 3-and-outs from there. So Wake Forest is out here completing an RPO pass. And Wake Forest is easily going to get the 1st down on a run there. Threatening in our territory now, Wake Forest is looking, and they're going to hit their guy over the middle who makes a tough contested catch. Wake Forest is going to run play action as time expires on the third quarter, and they're going to start the fourth quarter in our red zone after that completion. 3rd down and 1. Wake Forest is going to drop back to pass. They're probably going to scramble. Yep, there he goes, and he's got a wide open lane to the end zone, and Wake Forest is going to take the lead back. Another 3 and out by our offense leads to great field position for Wake Forest as they're on our side of the 50, and they get a pass play that nets them 8 yards. It's 3rd down and 2 for the Demon Deacons, and they're going to go with a pass play, and their quarterback has all the space in the world, but Peter Peters manages to push him back, and we actually get him down for a loss. After that tackle for a loss, the Demon Deacons are trying to go for 4th and 3. They're going to get the blocks they need on an RPO screen, and we're going to give it up, and they're going to get it to the 25-yard line. After we get them down for a tackle for a loss, it's 3rd down and 14 for the Demon Deacons. They're going to fire, and they got a guy over the middle, and Peter Alonso's just not fast enough to get him. 1st down and goal for the Demon Deacons. They're going to run it right up the middle and spin away from our guys, and they're going to get the touchdown. And they're going to make the score 28-17, and I'm going to come in, see if I can give our offense some momentum that they've been lacking since the end of the first half. We're going to try a pop pass, and Pierre Pete's going to be wide open, and he splits between their safeties, but they manage to get him down before he can get any further. I'm going to hit Peter Boyle here for a nice 9-yard gain. Just want to pick this up, so we're going to try a little dive play with Pete. And he's going to get it easily. And a lot of guys over there trying to cover our little unbalanced formation. And I'm just going to hit Pedro O'Toole for an 8-yard gain. We're going to do a little motion for Pierre Pete. And just hit this guy, Pedro O'Toole, who splits the defense and gets some extra yards for us down to their 18-yard line. Plan here is to get Pete Dinklage free to give us a nice gain. And he's going to break a tackle, making that look like a little bit better of a decision. We'll send Pete Dinklage in motion here again. See what I can get free here. And he's going to get free. He's going to get around their defender and get himself out of bounds to stop the clock. Try a little peak flat play with Pierre Pete. And he's going to get open, and they take him down just before he can get into the end zone. A little bubble screen action here with Pedro O'Toole. And he's going to get around him and get us into the end zone, so we managed to make it a one-possession game once again. Pete Previtz asking us to go for 2 to make it a field goal game. And Pete Dinklage is going to get himself free to convert and make it 28-25 with just over 2 minutes left. So it comes down to this for the Peteytown Piranhas. It's 3rd down and 2. The 2-minute warning is here. They're going to do an RPO play, and they fake us out. And it was the perfect play call at the time for them. And they're just going to be able to kneel on it to secure the bowl victory and handing us a loss to end our season. So tough result here for the Peteytown Piranhas as they're going to lose 28-25 to a Wake Forest team who gave us a lot that we just couldn't handle today. Their quarterback ran the ball well, and our offense just couldn't get things going. They had the nice drive to end our first half, but that was really all they could do outside of me stepping in. So, still feel good about the season, but not fun to end the season on a loss. So the stats for our bowl game, they outgained us 400 to 303. Our running game was non-existent, but we were also trailing at different points, so that's not too surprising. And for passing, they had 340 to our 277. And we both converted 5 third downs, but they converted it at a higher clip with 5 of 9, and we were 5 for 13. And really the only reason we were in the game to begin with was that we got those 3 turnovers. So good job by the defense, doing the best they can, but when your offense is kind of just stuck in the mud, it just puts too much pressure on you to make stops. Peter Peterson ends his career with us with a solid game, if not spectacular. He had 277 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, and he was also sacked twice. Our running game was kind of stuck in the mud again, and Pete had 13 carries for 38 yards. For our receivers, Pete led the way with 6 catches and 78 yards. Pedro O'Toole made nice plays for us today with 5 catches, 69 yards, nice, and 1 touchdown. And Pete Dinklage followed that with 8 catches, 50 yards, and 1 touchdown. Peter Cottontail was all over the field for us today with 13 tackles. We only had 2 sacks on the day with Peter Jack, Per Dare, Pedro Andreas, and Big Pete each getting half a sack. And leading the turnovers, we had Per Dare and Pete Mesquite with that pick 6, and Peter Lightning forced the fumble. That was picked up by Petey McGee. Finally, Steve P got his 1 field goal that he made for 50 yards, so very nice from him. After the bowl game, I leveled up again, so I just used the points to start going down the defensive backs for motivator. With that loss to Wake Forest, we're going to end the season at 9-5, and for being a 57 overall team, I think 9 wins is pretty much overachieving, so even though we lost that last game, I'm still proud of what we did this season, especially with winning the MAC conference in our first year, so that's going to allow us to move up a conference. For his effort, Pete Mesquite won MAC Defensive Player of the Week. It was only 2 MAC teams playing, of course, with the conference championship, but any little awards we can get, we'll take it. And Pete Mesquite also won National Defensive Player of the Week for the first week of bowl games, so congratulations to him for that. So after advancing a few weeks, it upgraded our coach so we got some more points to use, so I got us to Tier 3 for motivator, and next thing we're going to do is just go down to the offensive line, and that'll be it for this tab for the time being. As you can see here, Miami won the national championship over Michigan, and ultimately that's where we hope the Piranhas are going to get to in the future. With the end of the season, we're going to take a look at the final season stats for our players. Peter Peterson ended up with 3,823 yards, 37 touchdown passes, and 12 interceptions. So I think for where he's at overall, I think that's a pretty good season. Out of the backfield, Pete led the way with 219 carries, 1,115 yards, and 6 touchdowns, while Sir Peter was right behind him with 60 carries, 252 yards, and the 1 touchdown. For our receivers, Pete Dinklage had 93 catches, 946 yards, and 11 touchdowns, while our John Mackey Award winner Pete had 79 catches, 770 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And behind them, Peter Boyle had 56 catches, 684 yards, and 7 touchdowns. To no one's surprise, Peter Alonso led the way with 130 tackles, 24 tackles for a loss, 1.5 sacks, and then scroll over here, he had 4 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble. Behind Peter Alonso in the tackle department was Peter Peters with 101 tackles, 21 tackles for a loss, 2.5 sacks, 5 pass deflections. Peter Jack was great for us with 11 sacks, followed by Big Pete with 8.5 sacks, and Per Dare with 6 sacks. For interceptions, Peter Lightning led us with 3, Peter Cottontail also had 3, and then we had 2 each from Pete Pistol, Pete Mesquite, and Geeter Peter. For defensive touchdowns, Pete Mesquite got 1, Geeter Peter also had that big one early in the season, Per Dare had a touchdown, it was a fumble that he returned for a touchdown, and Peter Brett even got in on the action with 1 defensive touchdown. In the kicking game, our guy Steve P had 11 field goals made from 14 attempts, which gave him a 78%, and he also had a long field goal of 52. So you have some notable guys here looking to transfer. You got Peter Peck and Per Dare and Petar Guitar among the big names, so we'll see who we can get back. So after going through and trying to persuade some guys, we are losing Peter Peck and Per Dare. We're also losing Petar Guitar. But in nicer news, we were able to convince Pete Marks to come back, and that's good because we got Star Dev with him. Unfortunately, Stinky Pete is deciding to leave, But another guy we got to stay is tight end Peter Fond. So now it's time to say goodbye to some of our notable graduates. You got Sir Peter, Peter Boyle, Peter Alonso, Peter Peterson, Pete Pistol, Pietro Angelo, Peter Bobeater, Steve P. Our fullback Per Tart is leaving. And then you got Peter Peters graduating, Big Pete, Geeter Peter. And that's pretty much it for the notable graduates. So a handful of guys who contributed mightily to the team this year we're going to say goodbye to and make way for some of the younger guys below them. And we didn't have anybody with a high enough overall to be drafted, but hopefully someday this screen will be filled with guys that we're sending on to the NFL. So entering our off-season transfer recruiting, we have these guys that have been on our board for high schoolers for a while. And then we added some 4-star guys, seeing if we can get lucky with any of these. Notably, we have some receivers that we're looking at, like Ray Joseph and Victor Snow. And there was another guy, Ja'Cory Barney Jr., who all had 93 speed, so hopefully we can get some of them, one of them at least, just to boost our wide receiver room. We also got Brendan Sorsby here, who doesn't have us as an interest right now, but see if a scholarship and some recruiting hours can change that. Juju Johnson I'd like to get because I know he's pretty fast, so we can make him a quarterback or move him around, something like that. And then we got some other 4-star guys and a 3-star guy, so we're just trying to boost our team here with some 4-stars, see if we can improve them. So after moving to the second week, Ben Hickson, now we're just inches away from hopefully getting him away from Notre Dame. Put him on a week 1 visit to boost that up, so hopefully we're able to close out on him. This left edge, Charles Hardy, we got him on a week 4 visit, and we're hard selling him, so we'll see what happens there as well. Rashad Lemon should be coming to the Peteytown Piranhas any week now. Pete Scasia should be coming to us. We got the pipeline boost, so that should be a lock. Now we're trying to go all in on Keon Saab, but you can see Penn State and Michigan are really boosting ahead of us, so I just want to see if the boost to hours can get us back into it, but if not, I'll take him off the board. Victor Snow seems pretty interested, so I think we're going to be alright with some receivers here. Jaden Bellamy is another player that I put hours into after that first week, so we'll see if we can try something here. We do have the pipeline advantage on Notre Dame in a week 4 visit, so if the recruiting hours can pan out, hopefully we can give Notre Dame a run for their money. Ray Joseph's in first place, so we are giving a boost of hours to him, so really if we get one of those guys, I'll be pretty happy. And Ja'Cory Barney Jr. at this point might be a long shot, but I'm just going to see if extra hours get him interested. Brendan Sorsby locked us out already, so we're going to take him off the board. Interestingly, Juju Johnson, we shut up the board on him because we got good playing time for him, so I think that we got a really good shot to get him in the building. Randall Shelby, a transfer linebacker. He looks like he's a little more interested in Louisville and Purdue, but we'll see what we can do. And then these 2 left tackles just locked us out completely, so we're going to have to try again with some other tackles to fill out our depth chart. Entering the 3rd week of recruiting, we did get Ben Hickson to sign with us. We also got Rashad Lemon, so we're looking up at the guard positions for our offensive line. So Charles Hardy moved into first place for us, so feeling a little better about getting him. Keon Saab did get a little boost. We're still only in 3rd place, but we do have the week 4 visit to try and close him out if we can stay in the race for him. Victor Snow is way out in the lead now, so feeling good about that. For Jaden Bellamy, we're in 2nd place. Notre Dame's got a bigger lead on us, but we went with a week 4 visit, and I'm also trying to do a couple of soft sells on our best options to see if we can maybe get some extra boost that way. Ray Joseph is in 1st place, so that's feeling good as well. We're the only ones offering Juju Johnson right now, so again, still feel pretty good there. Alright, so now we're going to get the final recruiting list, and of course we got Pete Scasia. We got Charles Hardy, so that is our first 4-star recruit. He's a left edge. We did get Juju Johnson to bolster our QB room. We got Ray Joseph, so we got one of those 4-star receivers. And we got another 4-star receiver with Victor Snow. One thing that did not make any sense to me was that we were able to get the hard sell for Jaden Bellamy, and he had a good playing time grade, but all of a sudden it switched, so really have no idea what happened there. So after going through and checking the dev traits on some of these guys, Ray Joseph comes in with star development, as does Charles Hardy, so we're very happy about that. Charles Hardy was actually a high school prospect, so getting star development on a high school guy is huge for us. And I actually made a mistake. I thought one of those receivers was the first 4-star, but Ben Hickson, the right guard, ended up being the first 4-star recruit we got, and he was high school, and he's got star development, so we're very excited about that. And we also knew Jake Westbrook had his star development. Everybody else is going to have either impact or normal development, so I think overall we had a pretty solid class. When you take a look at the national rankings for recruiting classes, we're looking at the MAC conference, but of course we're going to be leaving that. But we had the 39th ranked class in the country with 4 4-stars and 17 3-stars. Right now I'm just considering some position changes. Right here we could see the skill caps for Juju Johnson, and they're not looking like the best, so let's look at Pete Manning. And as you can see, Pete Manning pretty much has unlimited potential to be a great quarterback for us, so we're definitely going to try to build around Pete Manning here and move Juju Johnson somewhere else. So for Juju Johnson, he keeps his shifty and sidestep abilities at halfback, so I think I'm going to put him there. And he also becomes one of our fastest halfbacks, putting him there. Also looking into what to do with our athlete Pete Scasia, and I think I landed on putting him at receiver just to give us a little speed boost there, and we also got a number of seniors at that position, so just want to fill that in. Entering our trading results week, we see that Pete Mesquite has upgraded his dev trait to impact, so nice job, Pete. And we got another dev trait upgrade with Pierre Pete, our tight end. Pete Manning had 43 skill points to use, so we dumped those into accuracy and got him to 84 overall. And thankfully his deal breaker is playing time, which is high, because he's really not being threatened by anybody else right now. So we're going to have a few years to work on with him. And I think next time we're probably going to focus more on abilities, just so he doesn't get too high overall and enter the draft early. Heading into his senior season, Pete is going to be an 83 overall, up from 78. We tried to work on his speed, but that didn't go up, and so we dumped some more into elusiveness. We didn't have enough for any abilities. His ratings just weren't high enough, but we did what we could to help make him an effective guy going into his senior season. For Juju Johnson, we got his speed up a little bit, worked a little on the elusiveness, and got him to an 80 overall. With Pete A. Caruso, we had to be a little careful with him because his deal breaker is proximity to home, so that's not going to change whatever we do, so we got it right to the limit there with his 79 overall. And we went into his elusiveness, and we were able to boost some of his abilities. We got his sidestep to silver, and his 360 to gold. Transfer wide receiver Ray Joseph came in with an 84 overall, and we got him up to a 90 by focusing on his hands and his route running. And we also got his cutter ability up to silver, so I think he's going to be just below a first round draft pick, but we're happy to have our first 90 overall player on the team. Victor Snow was another transfer wide receiver, and we got him to an 87 overall, again focusing on the hands and his route running. And then we also got him to silver cutter. Pedro Toole gets a nice little boost to 79 overall, and we got him to 90 speed. Our most productive receiver from last season, Pete Dinklage, is probably going to see a little less responsibility this year as he's only a 69 overall. Nice. And we were also able to get him the Sure Hands ability at bronze. So like Pete A. Caruso, we had to be a little careful with our Elite Dev freshman, Pete Ackler, because he's got the deal breaker for proximity to home. So we managed to get his speed up to 92, and his hands were improved, and his route running. And next offseason, I'm probably going to focus on the cutter ability and Sure Hands abilities. And we're just going to have to be a little careful, because I think he can get to an 80 overall, but can't go much higher than that for the time being, while his deal breaker is still proximity to home. In a fairly surprising development, Bianca Croning, who's going to be a sophomore with Impact Dev, has become our best tight end at 72 overall after going through some route running improvements and hand improvements. And what really set it over the edge was improvements to blocking. So Bianca Croning is going to look to take over for our John Mackey Award winner, mostly because the 83 speed, and our guy Pierre Pete is a solid tight end, and he'll come in for like 2 tight end sets, but he also had below 80 speed, so I think Bianca is going to give us a little more explosiveness out of that position. Transfer left tackle Logan Howland comes in, and we boosted him to an 82 overall, but I stopped there because his deal breaker is playing style, and if I went up a little more, then we would have a problem with him potentially wanting to transfer. So I'm going to save his 16 skill points for his senior season. Moving to the defense, a guy who really jumped up is Peter Latagoski to 73 overall. We focused on his power moves and a little bit of run stopping, and we even got his quickness up, so he's got 90 acceleration paired with 83 speed, so we're looking for him to make a big impact this season. Star Dev freshman free safety Peter Eris is going to take over for Peter Cottontail after we got zone coverage up to 88 and speed up to 91, so really looking to use Peter Eris as a weapon in the back end, and we also got house call on bronze. For strong safety Pete Marks, we're at a 75 overall after some upgrades to zone coverage and quickness. But the big problem is that the deal breaker here is proximity to home, which is an F. So I figured we're probably not going to convince Pete to stay for another year. So might as well make him as good as we can be so we can use him for a year. So after training results, we leveled up some more for Petey Previtt. So we're going to use that to finish out the offensive lineman part of this motivator tab. And now we're finished in this tab for at least a little while. I do plan to go into Master Motivator later, but we gotta have 5 players drafted first, so that might take a little while. So since we won the MAC Conference Championship in our first season, we're gonna be moving up to the next conference, and that's apparently Conference USA. So that will be the Peteytown Piranhas' new home. That'll be all for this episode of the Peteytown Piranhas. I think it was a successful first season for us, and I hope we can continue to build on that success in year 2 as we enter Conference USA. In the next episode, we'll be jumping into recruiting and starting our second season as a program. I'll see you guys in the next video.